The internet is the topic for this week's Wednesday Wisdom. So, every Wednesday, 1 p.m., I go live and parents send in questions about things that are wonderful and amazing and challenging and confusing in their homes. This week, a parent asked about how to keep their kids safe online. So, that's what we're going to talk about. I'm giving you my top 5 strategies for how to keep your kids safe online. Are you ready? You are going to want to take notes. You are going to want to remember these. So, the internet is full of wonderful, amazing, fantastic, incredible things. It's magical out here. It's how we're connecting. We want to celebrate that. You want to encourage your kids to go explore and learn and have access to all these things that we didn't have when we were kids, or at least I didn't. Depends on when you were a kid. And the internet can be a really scary place. There's people doing things and saying things and trying things that aren't in your kid's best interest. And so it is important that you find a way to talk to your kids about that so that they are aware. Now, you don't want to scare them. You don't want to terrify them about what might happen. And when you start learning about the truth of what's happening, it's a little scary. So we're not going to terrify them, but we do want to inform them. So here are my top 5 tips. Number 1, just because your kids know how to use technology better than you doesn't mean they know how to be safe online. So there's often moments where you tell your kids something about technology and they go, "Oh yeah, I know." Or you talk about changing passwords or something, and go, they roll their eyes, "Yeah, I got it." Because they think they know everything. They might act like they know everything, and they might know a lot. But don't allow that to have you caught in the place where just because they act like they know and because they can navigate technology and the internet perhaps better than you does not mean that they know how to stay safe online. So it's not your let's not have this conversation experience. Really important to remember that you have to teach them to be safe online. You have to teach them what to do and what not to do. Just like you teach them to be polite or you teach them to tie their shoes, you have to teach them to be safe online. It's a skill set. And if you know that, then you can follow the other few examples. Okay, so next strategy. Number 2, tell them explicitly things to do and not to do. Like, do not share passwords with anyone. And so that means the stranger that you don't know who's asking for something. That also means their best friend. Now, maybe they'll end up giving their best friend their password to email for something. But if you set the rule that we don't share passwords, it makes it much clearer for them when someone asks. And I would talk to them about how people will say that they need this for some really logical reason. That someone you don't know out there might reach out and say, I need your email password because I got locked out of mine and this is the only way in. Don't do it. Don't do it unless you are sitting in person with that friend and you can type your password in. Don't share it. But tell them all of those pieces, not the big and scary of what people do if they have your password, but tell them really clearly, don't do it. I don't do it ever. And if a friend needs help, I'm always willing to help them, but then I'll put in my password for them. It's just good practice. Now, along with the teaching them what to do and not to do, I would also talk to them about sending pictures. Now, if you have a teenager, they might send some interesting photos to someone they really care about. And that might be their choice and their prerogative to do. But talk to them about the ramifications of that. If you have a younger kid, talk to them about the ramifications of sending pictures in general or anything that they wouldn't send to their grandma. That's usually my rule. If you wouldn't send it to your grandma, then you got to think 3 times about it, not just twice, because sometimes that second thought is a little influenced by the first one. So you have to keep going of what would my grandma think if she saw this photo? If it's good, if grandma would be in for it, cool, send it. If not, well, then where might it go? Because once you send it to someone, could someone be standing over their shoulder and take a screenshot of the picture you sent? If their phone got hacked, would you be upset that somebody saw that picture? If that picture goes To everyone in your school, would you be upset? And if the answer is yes to any of that, you probably shouldn't be sending the picture. But if you don't say that to your kiddo, how do they know to think about that? They don't think about the consequences because they don't know what they are. So talk to them about it. Teach them very specifically what to do and what not to do online. Have those conversations, as strange as and awkward as they may be. Okay, number 3, play the video games with your kids that they like to play. I know, not your thing. Not my thing either. I get it. But sit down and play the video games with them so you know what they're doing, so you know what they're up to, so you know what's happening in their worlds and what they care about. Don't play the video game because you like the game, or if you do, bonus for you, but play the game because you like connecting with your child. Play the game because it gives you a window into the world that they are spending a lot of time in. And play the game with them so you can see those places where things might slip in. Because a lot of the dangers online are coming in through messaging on some of these online games. And if you've played the game, you have more awareness. If you play the game regularly, regularly with your kids, then it also helps them know and understand and connect with you. And they're more willing to tell you if something weird happened, something strange happened. It builds a bond. That's how we create connection and conversation so you know what's happening. 4, don't yuck their yum. It is a little kid's book. It is the title of the book, and I love it so much because while specifically the title of that book is about food and not yucking what somebody else likes to eat, I use it all the time as a phrase of don't tell someone you don't like something that they like in a dismissive and judgmental way. I don't have to like what you like. You don't have to like what I like. That's fine. That's what makes the world creative and interesting. But if you yuck my yum, then you're trying to make me feel bad for what I like. And that's not cool. So don't yuck their yum. If they love a particular game, don't be like, that's the dumbest game ever. Why are you wasting your time? If they share about something that happened in a message they received from a friend, don't be like, it doesn't matter anyway. When you're dismissive or when you judge or you tell them that their things don't matter, then they're not going to keep sharing it with you. They're not going to talk to you about it. And it just feels bad. What if instead you showed up with curiosity? I don't understand what's great about this game. Can you tell me? Or what was really hurtful about that interaction? The more you create spaciousness and openness for your kids to talk to you about what they are doing online, the more likely it is that you are going to hear about a moment when something goes wrong. The more likely you are to hear about something and say, that doesn't sound kosher. But if you yuck their yum, they're not going to tell you. And then they're going to end up in trouble somewhere and they're not going to tell you because you yuck their yum. So be curious. Listen to them. If they're looking for a solution, help them problem solve. If they're not, then just go, thanks for sharing what makes sense to you. I really liked hearing that. Doesn't mean that it's now your favorite game in the whole wide world. It just means that you're now going to listen. Okay, and number 5, which may be the most important of all of the tools, which is why I saved it for the best for last, is keep having the conversation. It's really important, so I'm going to say it again. Keep having the conversation. This is not a one and done. This is not you talk to them about internet safety, check that box, we're done, moving on. This is an ongoing conversation. This is a weekly conversation for many, many, many years. Maybe every other week, depending on how many you've had, depending on how much your kids are on technology. But keep telling them the same rules. Keep reminding them of the same strategies. Pick one thing per conversation and talk to them about that. The next week, talk to them about another piece. The next week, talk to them about another piece. But if you keep having the conversation, if you keep reminding them to not share passwords, if you keep reminding them to tell you when weird things happen, if you keep reminding them that sending pictures on the internet means that they could end up anywhere, If you ask them what they have been doing online, if you keep talking to them about playing games with them and then sitting down and doing it, if you keep doing this, you will know what your kids are doing online. And it is much more likely that they will be safe and that you will have kept them safe online because you are part of the conversation. Not a one and done. Keep having the conversation. Okay? Those are my 5 tips for you. Just because they know how to work technology does not mean they understand how to stay safe. Tell them, teach them how to be safe online. Don't share passwords. If that's not a picture you want your grandmother to see, should you be sending it to anybody? Play video games with them. Engage with technology with your kids. Don't yuck their yum and keep having the conversation. All right? Let me know which one of these tips you are going to start with and come back next Wednesday for more Wednesday wisdom. Bye.